Okay, hello everyone. Ang lecture natin ngayon under ng psychological research. Pag-usapan natin psychological research and the Bible. As always, bago ko to i-discuss, basa muna ako ng isang biblical passage. One of my favorites to kaya makinig kayo. Sabi sa Romans 1, "What can be known about God is plain to them, because God has shown it to them, for His invisible attributes, namely His eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse." As I go along, i-connect natin yung Romans 1 dito sa topic natin on psychological research and the Bible. Pero gusto ko pang mas i-emphasize yung Romans chapter 1. Meron akong favorite scientist by the name of Louis Pasteur. Baka kilala nyo yan. Asawa ni Mrs. Pasteur. Siyempre, alam nyo, joke lang yun, no? Pero si Louis Pasteur, meron siyang sinabi in connection to Romans 1. Kung baga, itong sinabi niya is the application, it's the confirmation that Romans chapter 1 is true. Na ang Diyos pwede mong makilala through the nature that you study. Sabi ng isang scientist, yun na nga, si Louis Pasteur, "A bit of science distances one from God, but much science nears one to Him. The more I study nature, the more I stand amazed at the work of the Creator." So yung mga words na yun ni Louis Pasteur, talagang ito yung application. Ito yung confirmation na totoo nga ang Romans chapter 1. The more you understand nature through science, the more you see the reality of God. Kaya nga, in connection to these ideas, balik tayo sa lecture ko, ang pinaka-goal ng lecture ko for today is to debunk a wrong model na usong-uso in the field of science, lalong-lalo na sa psychology. Ito yung model na kung saan hindi raw pwedeng pagsamahin ang science at ang faith. Yang dalawang yan, throughout human history, pinagsasabong yan, pinaggegera. Parang Tom and Jerry yan. Parang Autobots versus Decepticons yan. Which again, patutunayan ko in this lecture na mali yan, dapat nang palitan yan, dapat nang itigil ang pagsasabong ng science at ng faith. And as I've mentioned a while ago, in the field of psychology or science in general, ito yung dominant framework. Marami mga scientists na naniniwala na hindi dapat pagsamahin ang science at ang faith. And I would know because I am one of those people na pinagsasama ko yung science and faith, at dahil hindi ako part ng norm, marami akong mga criticisms na natatanggap. Like for instance, when I attempt to combine science and faith, ito yung mga statements na naririnig ko from people that I talk to. Sabihin sa akin, "You cannot be a scientist if you believe in God." Or sasabihin sa akin, "Pastor ka ba or psychologist?" Lalong-lalo na when I teach the way I teach in the classroom. Marami mga estudyante at the end of the term, ang evaluation ko, sasabihin sa akin, "Sir, dapat psychologist ka. Hindi ka nagba-Bible study inside the classroom." Number 3, dito ko gigil na gigil. May mga tao nagsasabi, kung science, kung Bible, Bible. Kung science pinag-uusapan natin, magbasa tayo ng journal article. Kung Bible na pinag-uusapan natin, gawin natin yan sa Bible study. Which again, seemingly it makes sense, lalong-lalo na for those of you na ito yung paniniwala, iba ang science and faith, but as I go along, you will realize na itong mga statements na to, lalong-lalo na yung last, dito ko mag-emphasize, it's not true. It's illogical. It should be changed. Kung science, kung Bible, hindi dapat ganyan ang attitude. Now, for those of you who believe, talagang paninindigan nyo yung paniniwala nyo na kung science, kung Bible, let me point to you the wrong assumption where you are coming from. Kaya nyo nasasabi yan kasi meron kayong assumption that biblical and spiritual teachings walang kinalaman or hindi related sa science. Am I right or am I right? Kaya mo nga nasasabi yan na dapat iba ang science, iba ang Bible kasi wala silang kinalaman sa isa't isa. And many people buy this. Many people believe in this, which explains why karamihan ng mga scientists I know, lalong-lalo na in the field of psychology, diring-dire sa idea ng Bible. And I would know this kasi ako, I work in the academe. Napapansin ko yan na kapag nag-i-inject ng mga biblical ideas in different conversations such as in thesis, such as in psychological conferences, kapag merong mag-i-inject ng biblical idea, sabihin mo yung pangalan ni Jesus, magsabi ka ng Bible verse, karamihan ng mga psych majors, karamihan ng mga psychologists I know, Ano reaction? Negative. Medyo madidiri, may kita mo naman sa mukha nila yan eh. Magsasalubong yung kilay, yung iba iinit yung ulo, biglang susungit. Talagang allergic sa mga biblical ideas kasi nga ayaw nila nahahaluan ng biblical ideas yung kanilang psychology. Got that? Again, we understand kung bakit ganyan ang reaction nila because they are coming from this framework. Na iba ang science, iba ang faith, hindi dapat pinagsasama, which in this lecture, paulit-ulit ako, ang sasabihin ko nga, hindi dapat ganyan. Now, going back to that wrong assumption, kung science, kung Bible, what if the Bible can lead to the discovery of scientific truths? What if kung maipakita ko na may mga biblical ideas that can lead to scientific truths? Anong ibig sabihin nun? If I'm able to show that, it confirms na ito maling assumption. Kailangan ng i-let go, kailangan ng palitan, kailangan ng ihinto. Does that make sense? And that's exactly what I'm gonna show in the next slides. Papakitaan ko kayo ng 3 examples on how spiritual ideas coming from God's Word can lead to scientific discoveries. Example number 1, punta tayo sa Philippians 4:6-7. Very popular verse. Sabi ni St. Paul, "Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus." Now listen to me, psych majors. Because you are being trained as a scientist, because psychology is a science, dapat sensitive yung mind nyo sa pag-identify ng mga scientific questions from different sources. And that includes biblical sources. And when you read the Bible, it's not so hard to do that. Alam niyo kung bakit? Ang Bible, punong-puno kasi siya ng mga psychological statements and claims. After all, the Bible is about the psyche. Although generally it's about God, pero isa sa mga main characters in the Bible is the psyche or the spirit created by God. So maraming psychological statements in the Bible. One example, itong nakikita nyo sa harap nyo ngayon. Right? So, because you are being trained to be a scientist, sensitive kayo na makahanap ng mga scientific claims in this passage. Such as what? Kung babasahin nyo ulit yung Philippians 4:6-7, merong psychological claim na ini-establish dito, and that is, it's possible that prayer leads to a better mental health. In what way? Anong ibig sabihin ng better mental health? Very specific yung passage dito. Kapag nagpe-pray ka, ang sinasabi ni Paul dito, ang benefit niyan, it will lower down your anxiety. At the same time, it gives you a peace of mind. Which again, based on the literature, itong dalawang to, indicator yan na maganda ang mental health mo. Got that? So from a simple biblical passage like this, nakabuo na tayo ng isang psychological research question na pwede nating masagot through scientific research. O para sa mga mahihilig mag-research dyan, di ba mahilig kayo mag-drawing para mukhang legit yung paper nyo? Gagawa kayo ng conceptual framework. O di gawin din natin ng conceptual framework yan. Based on this passage, ito yung framework na kiniklaim ng Philippians 4:6-7. That prayer predicts mental health. Prayer can make a person's mental health better. Again, in what way? Bababa ang anxiety, magkakaroon ng peace of mind. That's a very legitimate psychological hypothesis na pwedeng pag-aralan through scientific research. So from there, pwede ka nang pumili ng research method na gagamitin mo to confirm kung tama ba yung framework na yan. So bahala ka na dyan, magko-correlation ka ba, mag-FGD ka ba, kung mag-experiment ka ba, kung magki-case analysis ka ba, so on and so forth. Pero in this lecture, I like to focus on experiment kasi nagawa na yan. May isang experiment na ginawa in connection to how prayer leads to a better mental health. This is based on a study on teachers. So kumuha sila ng mga teachers, hinati sila sa dalawang grupo. So in experimental psychology terms, this is a between subjects design of experiment. Yung unang grupo ng mga teachers, tinuruan sila mag-pray in a specific amount of time or duration of time. Yung isang grupo naman, the control group, hindi sila tinuruan mag-pray. Gusto nilang malaman kung yung pagpe-pray ba ng mga teachers in the treatment group may magandang epekto sa mental health nila kumpara sa mga teachers na hindi nagpe-pray. To make the long story short, this study confirms that prayer is good for mental health. Let me read to you an excerpt of their results. Ang sabi, i-zoom in natin. In this experience, we observe a significant increase in job satisfaction, in mental well-being, as well as reduction in the levels of depersonalization and emotional exhaustion in what? The prayer group. Gets nyo? Yung mga teachers sa tinuruan mag-pray sa kanilang trabaho, sa pagiging teacher, nag-benefit sila sa pagdarasal. In what way? Sabi dito, tumaas ang job satisfaction, ang well-being tumaas, nabawasan ang level of depersonalization at ng emotional exhaustion. Kung ikukumpara mo raw sila doon sa control group na hindi nagpe-pray, kabaliktaran. Yung mga hindi naman nagpe-pray, mabababa ang well-being, mabababa ang job satisfaction, tumaas ang depersonalization at ang emotional exhaustion. Nagigets nyo? So, based on this, now you can see how a simple biblical passage can lead to a legitimate psychological question na pwedeng masagot through scientific research. Kaya ang sarap pagtabihin nung biblical passage na yan at ng finding na to. Gets nyo? Merong claim na ginawa sa Philippians. Ano ang source nito? Ng claim na to? Of course, hindi scientific. This is by revelation of the Holy Spirit. But later on, kapag ginawan mo ng scientific research, yun din pala yung finding. This one confirms this one. A simple biblical passage can lead to a legitimate scientific study. Example number 2, baka sabihin nyo, nakachamba lang yung Bible dyan, no? Merong claim na ginawa si Jesus sa Matthew. Sabi niya, therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. A very popular verse na naman to. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. Actually, ang context ng passage na to, Jesus was talking about worrying. Because during his time, marami mga tao, because of economic reasons, laging nagwo-worry about material things. So, tinuruan ni Jesus, yung mga tao na tinuturuan niya, how not to worry. So, ito yung reason kung bakit hindi ka dapat mag-worry. So, bottom line, si Jesus ang pinopromote dito, not to worry. Mag-present ka lang ngayon. Basahin nyo lang yung buong Matthew chapter 6 para makita nyo yung buong context. That's what Jesus is saying. You just focus on what is today. Huwag mo munang isipin yung future, wala pa tayo doon. Huwag mo nang isipin yung past kasi tapos na yon. Sounds familiar? In psychological terms, kapag fino-focus mo yung mind mo sa present, may term tayo dyan. Ang tawag dyan, mindfulness. Kayo na lang bahala magbasa niya, no, in the literature, but that's the essence of mindfulness, training your mind to focus on the present. O ngayon, based on this simple passage, meron na naman tayong conceptual framework na pwedeng mabuo. Ang sinasabi ba ni Jesus dito, mindfulness predicts better mental health. Better mental health is defined as lesser worry. So maganda sa mental health kapag ang tao nagpa-practice ng mindfulness, focus lang sila ng focus sa present. Tinetrain nila yung mind nila na wag mo na isipin yung mga bagay na wala pa, wag nang isipin yung mga bagay na hindi nila kontrolado. That's mindfulness. And again, nagawan na yan ng study. Experimental study. Basahin nyo na lang to on your own. Google Scholar nyo, download and read. Bottom line, ang sinasabi dito, meditation/mindfulness makes you more relaxed. Among the elderly, mga matatanda, yung mga participants nila dito. Let me read to you an excerpt from this article. Sabi nila, the results of this study taken as a whole suggest that changes in state of consciousness, ibig sabihin mindfulness, or cognitive mode through specific mental techniques can indeed mediate substantive improvements in the health and cognitive functioning of the elderly. In other words, to make the long story short, yung mga elderly dito, in their experiment, kapag nagpa-practice ng mindfulness, gumaganda yung mental health nila. Nagkakaroon ng improvements even in their cognitive functioning. To be more specific, gumaganda yung memory nila dito. Gumagaling yung kanilang recollection abilities when they practice mindfulness, focusing on the present. Kaya again, based on this finding, ang sarap na naman itabi to doon sa sinabi ni Kristo about mindfulness. Jesus taught about mindfulness in Matthew because he knows it's good for mental health and it is scientifically confirmed based on this journal article. Again, I hope you see or you saw how a simple biblical passage such as this. Simpleng biblical passage lang yan, pero pwedeng mong kunan ng isang legit psychological question na pwedeng pag-aralan through scientific research. Last example number 3. Maganda rin tong verse na to. Because you have so little faith, sabi ni Kristo. Ang context nito, yung mga disciples niya, hindi mapalayas yung demonyo. Hindi nila ma-exercise ng maayos. So tinatanong ng mga disciples, bakit nila hindi magawa yun? Ito yung sagot ni Jesus. Because you have so little faith. For truly I tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, the very popular mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. Wow, heavy yung claim na yan ni Jesus. But then again, kung psych major ka, sensitive ka sa mga posibleng research questions na pwedeng masagot through science based on these passages. And that is, in this passage, Jesus is claiming that a person's belief, that a person's expectation can affect his or her outcome. Yun yung sinasabi niya dito, di ba? If you have a faith as small as a mustard seed, faith is a form of expectation. Right? Kapag nag-hope ka ng isang bagay at 100% naniniwala kang mangyayari yon, you can do all those things. All those things na ine-expect mo mangyayari. So again, based on that, this is the framework that we can form. Is it possible na yung expectation mo sa isang bagay, the more na naniniwala ka doon, mas nangyayari yung outcome na pinaniniwalaan mo? And the answer is yes. Based on what? Based on a study done on this. Actually, in general, ang tawag sa mga ganyang studies, no, yung pinag-aaralan mo, how expectations become reality, ang tawag dyan is placebo effects. Basahin nyo na lang on your own, basa kayo ng ibang studies on placebo effect. In this lecture, i-present ko lang itong article na to. Aerobic Exercise and Placebo Effect, a Controlled Study. In summary, ang ginawa lang dito, kumuha sila ng dalawang grupo ng mga tao na mahilig sa fitness. Wina-value nila yung physical health nila tsaka yung well-being nila through exercise. So the first group of people, sinabihan sila that they will undergo a program, physical exercise program, pero yung program na i-undergo nila specifically designed para pagandahin yung cardiovascular health nila, pati na yung kanilang self-esteem. On the other group naman, the control group, hindi sinabi yon. Hindi sila nag-form ng expectation. Sinabihan lang sila na, oh, merong ganitong program, maganda to, undergo nyo. Hindi sila ginawa ng expectation na itong program na to, gaganda yung cardiovascular health nyo, pati na yung self-esteem ninyo. So what's the difference? To make the long story short, ito, basahin natin, the results of this investigation provide additional support that a placebo effect may be involved within the exercise psychological enhancement connection. Bakit? Kasi yung grupo na pinaniwala na yung exercise program na pagdaraanan nila, pampataas ng self-esteem, pampaganda ng cardiovascular health, totoo ngang nangyari. Kahit na yung program talagang simple lang. Got that? Wala naman talagang magic dun sa program. Parehong-pareho lang ng program yung treatment group tsaka yung control group. Pero bakit yung effect between the treatment group and the control group magkaiba? Bakit mas positive yung effect among people in the treatment group? Kasi sila yung may expectation na ganon. Dahil sinabi sa kanila na yung program nila special, in-expect nila na gaganda yung cardiovascular health nila, in-expect nila na tatas ang self-esteem nila, guess what? Towards the end of the study, that's exactly what happened. Gumanda nga ang cardiovascular health nila, gumanda nga ang self-esteem nila compared to the control group na, remind you, parehong-pareho lang ng exercise program ang pinagdaanan. Expectation leads to reality. Yan yung sinasabi ng study na yan. Na again, in-establish ni Kristo many years ago before scientific psychology. Kaya ang sarap na naman ipagtabi ng isang Bible verse at ng isang finding from a journal article. Got that? From a simple biblical passage, nanganak ng isang legitimate psychological study. Got that? So, yun yung 3 examples ko, no? That again, kung i-combine mo yung 3 examples ko, it challenges, it destroys the wrong assumption that the Bible or spiritual teachings walang kinalaman or hindi related sa science. Kasi yung 3 examples ko na pinakita kanina, sobrang linaw na ang Bible, spiritual teachings can contribute something to the scientific enterprise. Got that? Kaya nga, wait lang, ang applications natin dito, no? Number 1, ang application dito is, we need to give Bible a place in psychological research. Okay? Given my examples, let's give the Bible a place in psychological research. In what way can we do number 1? Unang-una, i-allow natin yung mga biblical ideas sa ating everyday conversation, especially when we do science. Dapat allowed ang biblical ideas in the classroom, especially when you teach psychological subjects. Basta ma-relate mo scientifically. Diba? Basta maipakita mo sa estudyante yung interlink between a biblical idea and scientific proof, dapat allowed na ginagawa sa classroom yan. Dapat allowed ang biblical ideas in thesis writing. Basta malinaw ang theory, malinaw ang connection ng scientific findings sa biblical claims, ina-allow dapat yan. Hindi dapat sinisimangutan yan ng mga chair, ng mga panel members. Lalong-lalo na, i-allow natin yung biblical idea sa mga conferences. Huwag natin awayin yung mga taong nagpe-present ng biblical ideas in their research, lalong-lalo na kung back up naman ng research, back up by evidence. Got that? So that's the first way that we can apply number 1. Biblical ideas must be allowed in those conversations. Another way we can apply number 1 is, we should stop the war between science and the Bible. Itigil na yung maling framework ito. Itigil na to. Huwag na nating pagsabungin ang science at ang Bible. Because again, based on my examples, they are not at war, but they complement each other. Yan. Kaya nga sabi ng isang scientist pa, no, in connection to this, na-realize din niya yan eh. How the Bible and the science are not at war. Sabi niya, one of the greatest tragedies of our time is this impression that has been created that science and religion have to be at war. Tingnan nyo na lang on your own gaano ka big time itong si Francis Collins. Magugulat kayo that a scientist like him would say this, na hindi kontra ang Bible sa faith. Yan. Kaya going back to those people na nagsabi sa akin ng mga ganyang statements, ang application dito, hindi na dapat sinasabi yung mga statements na yan or dapat palitan yung mga statements na yan. You cannot be a scientist if you believe in God. Palitan mo something like, ito yung tama. I am a scientist who see God in my science. Remember Louis Pasteur? Yun yung tamang framework. For those people who would say, pastor ka ba or psychologist? Anong tamang statement dyan? Yan, mali yan. Hindi mo dapat pagpipiliin kung pastor ka ba o magiging psychologist ka. Pwede kang maging psychologist who is called by God to pastor people. Sa ganong paraan ka tumutulong sa mga tao, ginagamit mo ang psychology to help people to be closer to God. Does that make sense? For those people who say, eto, yung gigil na gigil ako, kung science, science, kung Bible, Bible. Paano mo i-modify yan? Anong tamang statement dyan? Science can better progress when it studies what the Bible claims. Nagigets nyo? So that's another way how we can apply number 1. Stop the war between science and the Bible. Stop saying these words. And last one, number 3, under number 1, how can we give Bible a place in psychological research? We need to give respect to the Bible. We need to give the Bible the intellectual respect that it deserves. Alam nyo bakit? Tanungin nyo ko bakit. Bakit kinakailangan ang Biblia irespeto ng science? Kasi karamihan ng mga alam ng science, ang Bible una ang nakaalam. Most of the things that we know about the world, especially about the psyche, the Bible foreknew. Nauna ang Bible na malaman yung mga bagay na yan, only to find out later on through scientific research na totoo pala yung mga sinasabi ng Bible. Again, babalik tayo sa mga examples ko to prove that. Diba? Alin dito ang nauna? Ito galing to sa journal article. Ito galing to sa Matthew. Anong naunang sinulat? Yung journal article o yung Matthew? To be more specific, this journal article was published 1993. Siguro naman ang Matthew nasulat before 1993. Does that make sense? Alin ang nauna? Yung sinulat na journal article noong 1989 or yung sinabi ni Kristo about mindfulness sa Matthew 6? Obvious naman yung sagot, nauna ang Matthew bago itong journal article na to. Alin yung naunang naisulat? Yung journal article noong 2020 about prayer or yung sinabi ni Saint Paul sa mga taga Philippi? Alin dyan ang nauna? Obvious ba? Nauna yung letter ni Paul kumpara sa journal article na to na sinulat noong 2020. So most of the things that we know about the psyche, even before science knew these things, alam na ng Bible centuries before. The Bible foreknew what science discovers. Which again, yan yung reason kung bakit dapat taasan natin yung intellectual respect natin sa Bible. Hindi yung minamaliit natin yung wisdom from the Bible. Yan kasi yung common response sa mga tao na talagang addict sa scientific process. Alright? So that's application number 1. Let's move on to application number 2. We need to develop the skill of spiritual hypothesis testing. Bago to, anong ibig sabihin ng spiritual hypothesis testing? It is a skill wherein meron kang ability na makaspot ng mga scientific questions coming from spiritual claims. Which in this lecture, pinakita ko kanina. Napansin niyo yon? Gumamit ako ng spiritual hypothesis testing. Nagbasa ako ng Bible verse. Pero, from reading the Bible verse, nakahanap ako ng isang legitimate scientific psychological question na pwedeng sagutin using research. Para sa mga nakalimot na, di ba sa Philippians, kung binasa natin yan, anong question yung nabuo ko? Can prayer improve mental health? Specifically, lower anxiety and higher peace of mind. Nung binasa ko yung sinabi ni Kristo sa Matthew on mindfulness, can focusing at the present lower one's worrying? That's a legitimate scientific question. Nagigets nyo? So, anong tawag dyan? Dapat i-develop nyo yung skill na yan, spiritual hypothesis testing. It will help you a lot. Especially if you're a scientist, hindi ka mauubusan ng research topics. Kasi ang daming research topics na pinopropose ng Bible. Got that? Now we go back to the verse that I've read a while ago doon sa Romans. I-adjust ko lang to. Gusto kong i-emphasize dito yung words na in the things that have been made. Bottom line, ang sinasabi ng Romans 1, ang Diyos, mararanasan mo siya, makikita mo siya through the things that are made. And that includes what? Ano yung mga bagay na kapag na-realize mo yung mga bagay na yon, in a way, you will see God. You will encounter God. That includes science. Does that make sense? That includes science. Science is a way to see God. Unfortunately, doon nga sa model na dinedebunk ko, hindi kasi ganyan yung ginagawa eh. Ang ginagawa ng maraming tao, ginagamit yung science to prove that there's no God. You see the difference? That's wrong. The correct framework is, when the more you appreciate science, the more you should see the genius, the wisdom of God who created the science. Exactly what Pastor is talking about. The more he understands his science, the more he sees the complexity of the universe, manghang-mangha siya. Parang wala siyang enough faith na maniwala na lahat ng complexity na nakikita niya sa science niya, tsamba lang. Random explosion lang tayo sa universe. It couldn't be. Complex things like this require a designer. Complex psyche like this requires an imager. And that's exactly what the Bible says. Na yung mga pinag-aaralan natin dito sa mundo na covered ng science are all testament, are all witnesses to the greatness of the one who created science in the first place. Bottom line, wag nating pagkontrahin yung psychological research sa biblical wisdom na sinasabi ko in this lecture. Alright? So again, for those of you who are doing psychological research, itigil nyo na yung ganyang framework. Allowed tayo na kumuha ng mga legit scientific questions from biblical teachings. Alright? So, yun lang yung maikli nating lecture on this one. Sana marami kayong natutunan. If you have any questions, comments, or may suggestion kayong topic that you want to discuss in the future, ilagay nyo lang dyan sa comment section. Until next time, Sir Howard here. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.